Hey everybody! After taking a bit of a break, my 5 Parsecs from Home campaign is returning with turn number 12 here on Bricks and Blocks Gaming. If you're new or just want a refresher on what's happened so far in my crew's adventures, be sure to check out my recap videos of turns 1 through 5 and turns 6 through 11 so you can see how my story and characters have evolved over the first 2 chapters of my campaign. And 5 Parsecs is of course the solo adventure sci-fi wargame written by Ivan Sorensen and published by Modifius Entertainment. I'm Alan. Let's get to the bricks and blocks of turn 12 for my campaign. Having destroyed Galactic Solutions' main factory and corrupting their research data, Gibbs renegades assumed they had put an end to the company. However, the crew received a message informing them Galactic Solutions had a secret base in the ruins of Corvar Alpha. Upon investigating the lead, the team was attacked again by Zarvaros, this time with a group of mercenaries. Gibbs renegades forced the mercenaries to retreat and found there was no secret base in the ruins. Just then, Rhett appeared, after being gone looking into Talfo Yaris's contacts and supporters, and informed Danik and the others that Talfo and his hacker didn't corrupt Galactic Solutions information after all. Rather, they stole it for their own use and captured Dr. O to force him to work for them. Although it took some time, Dr. O was eventually able to send a decrypted message that Charlie was able to pick up, detailing a survey site where Dr. O was going to be taken. The crew is now traveling across the galaxy to the planet of Daburu to save their friend and start a new mission to take out Talfo Yaris and his men, and finally destroy the research data that started everything. Gibbs renegades will have no patrons when they travel to Daburu, but they have 2 rivals that could potentially follow them, 6 credits, 1 story point, and 2 quest rumors. Captain Danik Krall has no experience points after increasing his toughness to 5. He's carrying a blast rifle with a quality sight, a hand cannon with a laser sight, and a marksman's rifle, and he's wearing combat armor. Baffy also has no experience points after increasing his reactions to 3. He still has his auto rifle with the tracker sight, a handgun, a blade, an insta-wall, and he's wearing stealth gear, but his screen generator is currently damaged. Beldara has 6 experience points and still has her rattle gun with the nanosludge modification, a blast pistol, a blade, a screen generator, and is wearing flex armor. Ugrak has 2 experience points. He's wearing combat armor and is carrying an auto rifle, his shatter axe, and his flak screen, which was damaged during the last battle. He has a neural optimizer implant that makes him immune to being stunned. Charlie is carrying a rattle gun, a glare sword, and wearing combat armor. Rhett has returned after being away on a side quest for 2 turns. He's carrying his auto rifle with the bipod and seeker sight, a machine pistol, a grapple launcher, and is wearing stealth gear. He currently has 1 experience point. And Dr. O is currently being held by Talfo Yaris and his team. To start out here for turn 12, every 3rd campaign turn I gain +1 bonus story point, so that bumps me up to 2 story points. And then looking at the turn sequence, I have decided to travel. I want to go to a red zone planet, so I'll go ahead and start with that. And for red zones, they have a few requirements. It has to be at least 10 campaign turns. And at the end of the last turn, I paid 15 credits for a license to travel to a red zone planet, and I meet the other requirement of having at least 7 members of my team. And when I have a license, whenever I travel, I may opt to travel to a red zone. These planets and battles are rolled up normally, but they have additional things like time constraints that I have to roll up for each battle. And there's also extra threat conditions, making each of the battles more difficult, as well as increased opposition, higher chance for invasion threats. But on the good side, there are some improved rewards if I succeed in one of these battles. So now I just need to pay 5 credits to travel and roll up a Starship travel event. On a D100, 49. And that result is a patrol ship. A Unity patrol vessel hails you. I haven't really been doing much with Unity in this game. That's the official kind of galactic police. But they want to steal something from me. I need to roll 1d6 minus 3 twice. And the results for those are 0 and 1. So for each die that scores above 0, that number of items gets confiscated as contraband. I can give them any items carried by my crew members or items in my stash. Due to their military presence, the next world you visit cannot be invaded, which might be beneficial. So luckily I only have to give them one item because I got a 0 and a 1 as my results. And I still have 2 frag grenades. One of them I picked up in the last battle, so apparently it was one I wasn't supposed to have, so I'll give them that. And there's a few New World arrival steps I need to roll up. First, I need to check to see if either of the 2 rivals I have follow me here. A D6 on a 5+, they do. Back on turn 9, I fought some psycho bugs that became rivals after the battle. And they do not follow me. And then I, at one point, rolled that I had a rival that I've never actually had to find out what they are. So an unknown rival. And they do follow me. So apparently there's someone that's been tracking me for a while that we haven't been able to figure out who they are yet. I have to dismiss Talfo Yaris as a patron. And then I need to check for licensing requirements. I can roll a D6, and on a 5 or 6, I have to get a freelancer license to perform patron jobs. And I do not. So I can get patrons as normal, and now I need to roll up a world trait. And the trait is 5. And that result is overgrown, so I guess I'm going to a highly vegetative planet here. When setting up the table, you must add 1d6 plus 2 individual plant features or 1d3 areas of vegetation. The book does have some guidelines for how to set up a board, and I kind of just do my own thing. I don't really follow this to the T. So the result that I rolled up, I'll just kind of make sure that I put lots of plants and things on the battlefield to mess with line of sight and provide lots of cover. And I've got a few other things to do when I move to a new planet. Back on turn 10, I found some trade goods. I roll a d6 to see how much I can sell it for here. If I get a 1, the item is damaged and they are worthless. So these are worth 3 credits here. I could keep them to try to sell somewhere else, but I'll go ahead and sell them for the 3 credits. And on turn 6 and 8, I found personal trinkets. For these, I rolled 2d6, and on a 9+, I've found their owner here on this planet. The first one with a 6, no owner here, and the second one, also a 6. So I'll hang on to those for another planet. And now for my usual campaign steps. I start with upkeep. I have to pay 2 credits for my crew of 7, and then to assigning crew tasks. I'm going to start with Beldara and Ugrak exploring this new planet. So Beldara's roll is 57 and Ugrak's is 89. Alright, so I'm on a quest right now, and Beldara apparently heard a rumor about a lead for the next part of our quest. And then Ugrak rolled a result I think I've had before. When fighting this campaign turn, select a random enemy figure. If your crew kills them, I earn 2 credits, but no extra reward if they run away. And while those 2 are off exploring, Danik and Baffy are both going to go trading. Danik's roll is an 85, and Baffy's is 1. So Danik found some gently used gear. I get a roll on the loot table to see what it is. For the sub table, 91, and the actual item, 93. The 91 gives me a utility item, and then the 93 gives me a sonic emitter. Well, this could be useful. Any enemy within 5 inches suffers -1 to all hit rolls when shooting, so this would need to be repaired before I can use it. And Baffy's trade result gets him a personal weapon roll once on the low-tech weapon table. And that is 73. And that is just an additional shotgun to add to my stash. And I almost forgot that I have a merchant link, which gives me an additional free trade action I can complete each turn. So this result is a 21. And that is a medical pack. Receive your choice of a stem pack or a med patch. And I'll be taking a stem pack. If a character would become a casualty on the battlefield, they remain on the table with a single stun marker. This item can be used reflexively upon becoming a casualty, and it does not require an action. So that could be really helpful since I'm probably going to be outnumbered in a lot of these battles here on this red planet. And next, I'm going to have Charlie try to repair Baffy's damaged screen generator. He's got a +2 savvy, +1 for the repair bot, needing a total of 6. He gets that. And then I'm going to have Rhett try to repair the new sonic emitter they just found. He's got the same +2 and +1. And for a total of 6, he gets that as well. And lastly, even though I'm saying that Dr. O has been captured, he is still technically in my crew. And so I'm saying that while he is being forced to do some research things for Talfo Yaris, he is sending out some secret messages to the team, letting them know where he is. So he is on a decoy mission, so I won't get tracked down by my rival this turn. And even though I assigned all my equipment at the start of my turn, per my house rule, I'm going to assign my new equipment that I got. So my sonic emitter is going to go to Ugrak to keep him safe as he charges towards enemies. And then a while ago I had found a duplicator which I used to create a rattle gun for Charlie. But then on turn 9 I ended up buying one on a gadget roll. So I'm going to use my second duplicator to copy one of my screen generators and give that to Rhett so he's got some defensive protection. For my battle, since Dr. O is setting up a decoy, I can skip checking for rivals, and instead I'm going to continue on a quest mission. First, I'll roll up the deployment condition, 47. So this is fitting. For a quest, that result is a surprise encounter. The enemy can't act in the first round. So for Dr. O, as well as decoying some of the enemies, he's also perhaps given my team the schematics to the compound where he's being held so they can sneak in undetected. Checking for notable sights, 72. And this is also fitting. That is a person of interest. If I get to this person and forego all my further actions that round, I gain a story point. So apparently they're trying to get to Dr. O, who's somewhere on the battlefield. For my objective, 2. And I'm not sure if this one fits in quite as thematically. It's a move through for a quest. My objective is to get at least 2 of my crew members from my side of the table off the opposing side of the battlefield. So I'll have to figure out how I want to work that in narratively. Now to determine the enemy I'm facing, starting with their category. 29, and then specifically 32. So the 29 for a quest gives me hired muscle, and a 32 is guild troops. They have no extra numbers, panic on a 1 or 2, a speed of 4, combat skill of +1, toughness of 4, and the tactical AI. And they have a special intrigue, which basically gives me a chance to gain an additional quest rumor after the battle, which my chances are increased if I kill a lieutenant or a unique individual. And I'll point out these guys are pretty similar to the unknown mercs I faced off in my last battle with Zarvaros, the only difference being the guild troops are a little slower than the unknown mercs. For weapons, their standard soldiers roll up a 5 and their specialists a 1. Okay, I guess this is kind of fitting. Their category 2, they get hand lasers. I'm attacking a research area, so that makes sense that most of them would just have sidearms rather than military rifles or something. But the specialists do have marksman's rifles, so there's probably going to be some sniper towers here. And with the special rules for doing red zone battles, I don't roll to see how many enemies I encounter. I just encounter a base of 7 figures plus any modifiers, so that's just 7 here. They will include 3 specialists, one of which is a lieutenant. So there'll be 1 regular lieutenant and 1 with a marksman's rifle. And then I'll roll +1 to find out if there's a unique individual here. So 2d6 plus 1 for a total of 7. There needed to be a 9 or higher for a unique individual to show up. And I also need to roll up a special threat condition for this red zone battle. And that is a 1. So that is comms interference. Each reaction roll phase, I roll one less die than normal. A character not assigned a die will just simply act in the slow actions phase. And there's also a potential time constraint that will be rolled up, but this will be at the end of round 6, which can potentially bring in some new enemies or do some other things on the battlefield. For the enemies, even though I didn't roll up a unique individual, I'm including Talfo's hacker named Central, who will be the enemy's lieutenant, and he's carrying a hand laser, as are these two over here and this one here. And the specialists rolled up marksman's rifles. However, those weapons are actually kind of limited, and I wanted to include the troopers that fled from the field in my last battle. And so this one here was carrying an auto rifle in that last battle, so I gave her an auto rifle, and I gave this one also an auto rifle, and he is going to be their lieutenant, and then just a regular specialist with a marksman's rifle. And in my crew tasks, I rolled there'd be a bounty for taking down one of these specific enemies, and instead of rolling randomly, I'm just going to choose Central, as my crew is trying to take down Talfo and everybody that's in his inner circle. This battle takes place on the forested planet of Duburu, in a ravine where Talfo's men are forcing Dr. O to aid them in searching for a special mineral they need for something they're creating. As such, Dr. O is near the middle of the battlefield, where he's guarded closely by one of the mercenaries, while a specialist is nearby. The rest of the troops, including the lieutenant and Talfo's hacker, Central, are back here. And they have a sniper perched on the rocks, where he can see most of the battlefield. The actual playing area for my battle is just this section, with the gray areas being off the table, as well as the back area where the speeders are. That does make the sniper out of bounds, but this just means I can only take him down with shooting unless he moves inbounds. The goal for this battle is to move through, so my team is trying to get down to the speeders to steal them or blow them up, so the enemy can't use them to warn the rest of Talfo's team. Or my crew can just defeat all the enemies and hold the field. And although Dr. O is on the battlefield, he is just a notable sight, so I don't control him, he can't move or be attacked, and once I've interacted with him, he's considered secured, meaning he's hunkering down somewhere or fleeing back to Tess. My team is set up over here. They're all huddled behind this rock because they've sneaked into this ravine, and I rolled they're doing a surprise attack, meaning the enemy aren't expecting anyone to show up, and don't get to go in the first round. So I'll start out with trying to seize the initiative. I have +1 for being outnumbered, +2 for Ret Savvy, and +1 for the scanner bot, and then I have a -1 because I'm fighting hired muscle. So +3 to that gives me a total of 14, so I seize the initiative. Since none of my crew members can see any of the enemy, I will just have all of them do a single move. They all have a movement of 5 except for Charlie, who only has a movement of 4. Danik's going to come right over here by this rock. Ugrok's just going to charge down the middle. Charlie will come over here behind Danik. And then Rhett and Beldara are both going to run off this direction. And that puts my team in a pretty good position for round 1, where the enemies don't get to act. This ravine is causing some interference with my comms, so I only get to roll 4 dice, which doesn't really matter for the first round. But I can give a 1 to anybody and a 4 to Danik. So I'll assign the 4 to Danik and the 1 to Ugrok, and he's just going to run up 5 inches over to here, and he has an auto rifle, so he's going to fire right through here at this mercenary. The enemy has cover. Ugrok needs a 6. He has a +1 first shot. That hits against a toughness of 4. That stuns him. He'll fire his second shot. And that's a total of 5, so he misses the second shot. So this guy is pushed back an inch and given a stun. And then up at the front of the board, Danik, here in front of Charlie, He can actually see all the way down here. It's a bit blurry, but to that sniper. And Danik is carrying a marksman's rifle just like the sniper. And 36 inches just barely allows him to see that sniper. He's firing just a single shot into cover. He's got a +2 combat. For a total of 7, that hits against the toughness of 4. That just stuns him. So the sniper is pushed back an inch and stunned, and unfortunately he is now out of Danik's range at 37 inches away. And since the enemy can't do anything for their first round, we'll go now to Rhett, who is going to move 5 inches right up here behind this rock, and he's going to fire his auto rifle at that stunned trooper. That mercenary is right out in the open now, so Rhett needs a 5, and he's got a +1 combat. First shot for a total of 3 misses, and the second shot, that one hits against the toughness of 4. That one takes him down. So Rhett positions himself there on that rock, fires his auto rifle, and inflicts the first casualty of the battle. Next, Charlie is going to kind of run up the middle here. He's not too worried about being out in the open. He's got some pretty good defenses. And from right there, he can see this specialist over here, and he's just going to unload his rattle gun on her. She's got cover, but Charlie has +2 combat, needing a 6. First shot misses. Second shot also misses, and the third shot, unfortunately, they all miss. And lastly, for round 1, Beldara is just going to move and dash 7 inches, which will get her right up here by these rocks. Normally there would be a morale roll at the start of the next turn because I took down one of these enemies, but since the battle is just starting out and the enemy are kind of confused as to what's going on, I'm just going to skip that for this round. Alright, round 2, rolling just 4 reaction dice. I can use, I think, a 2, 3, and 4. So Danik will get my 4, Charlie can take the 3, and then Ugrok will take the 2. He's just going to run right up over here by these rocks, and from right there, he can take a wide open shot with his auto rifle at this specialist. +1, needing a total of 5. First shot misses, not aimed. Second shot, that one also misses. And with that specialist now dodging 5 shots, we're going to head over to Charlie, who's just going to move 4 inches forward, which will put him right out over here. And then he's going to try his rattle gun again. And I just realized I forgot last time he moved, and so should have had a -1 to hit with the rattle gun because it's heavy. So he gets just a +1 to these shots. It is in cover. First shot. That one hits with a total of 6 against toughness of 4. Takes her down. So she survived that battle at the ruins in the Korvar cluster, but won't be going home after this battle. And then I'll go back to the front where Danik will move 5 inches right up here. And from right there, he has a perfectly clear shot at the back of this mercenary. Wide open, he needs a 5. He's got a +2 to this shot. That hits with a total of 7 against the toughness of 4. And that just stuns him. So a sniper blast ricochets off these rocks and grazes this mercenary, knocking him back an inch and stunning him. And now these guys know that they're under attack. The first thing the enemy are going to do is the sniper in the back is going to get rid of his stun and fire on Charlie out here in the open. He has +1 combat, needing just a 5. That hits against Charlie's toughness of 5. That gets past his toughness. Charlie does have an armor save of 4+ with his combat armor and robot body. And he doesn't save. I'm doing well enough in the battle so far that I don't think I want to use a story point to prevent him from being a casualty, so Charlie does unfortunately go down. And then going to all the enemies in the middle of the battlefield. This mercenary here is going to move and dash 6 inches up here behind this rock. And then central, he is going to charge up here 4 inches. And his hand laser has a range of 9 inches, which is just barely far enough to reach Ugrok. Dr. O is technically in between them, but since I don't think he counts as a character, he's just kind of a structure in the battlefield, he can shoot over the top of him, but Ugrok does have cover. Central has a +2 to hit, and he gets a 4, so he misses with his hand laser. And then over to their lieutenant back here. He is just going to move forward a little bit, staying in cover, and he's going to fire his auto rifle down here at Danik. He needs a 6, but he has a +2 combat, and that does hit on the first shot. Danik has a toughness of 5, so he takes a stun. And then on the second shot, that one also hits. Danik's toughness of 5. It gets past his toughness. He's got combat armor, 5 or higher. He misses that. Well, his luck kicks in. He's going to end up moving 2 inches that direction. So that first shot made Danik step back a little bit, and then the next shot made him lunge back 2 more inches, and he does take a stun from that first shot that the lieutenant took. But I guess that's a fitting position there. He's just hunkered down behind that rock. And for this last mercenary, I'm kind of torn as far as figuring out what he should be doing. He has a hand laser, so he needs to get close in order to use it, but he can't really get anywhere without just being out in the open. So he's just going to move 4 inches this way, staying in cover and getting rid of his stun marker. And moving now to my slow phase, I guess these mercenaries here in the middle were so focused on Ugrok that they didn't really pay attention to what's going on this flank over here. And Rhett's just going to prop his bipod up on this rock and fire at this guy. He does have cover being partially behind that rock. The bipod gives him a +1 if he doesn't move before he shoots, as long as the enemy is more than 8 inches away, which it is. And he has a +1 normally. So +2, needing a 6. First shot, misses. Second shot, that one hits. Toughness of 4. That takes him down. So Rhett racks up another kill, taking this guy down. And then Beldara can't really get into a good position to shoot anybody, so she's just going to move over here a little bit, staying in cover. At the end of round 2, I'll roll up a battle event. 62. Alright, a desperate plan. A random figure in my crew cannot act next round, but instead select another figure to act in both the quick and slow phases. So as far as who cannot do any actions this round, we'll go Danik, Rhett, Beldara, and then Ugrok. And so that is Danik who cannot do anything. And then I'll go ahead and roll panic rolls. I took down 2 of the enemy. On a 1 or 2, somebody's going to panic. So one of them flees. Their sniper is the closest to their table edge, but it seems fitting that this guy would run away after nearly being shot and not being sure what to do. He's going to hop on one of these jet bikes and take off. So the battle's going pretty well so far. I've taken down 3 of them. One of them is taken off, but Charlie is down and Danik's in bad shape. We'll see how I do in round 3. So rolling just 3 reaction dice, and I'm going to have Ugrok be my character that does the desperate plan, getting to act in both the quick and slow phases. And he's going to be the only guy acting in that quick phase. And it's hard to see this angle with all the foliage I have here, but Ugrok right here does have line of sight at this lieutenant, so he is going to fire his auto rifle at him. This is aimed, and he's firing into cover. He's got a +1 combat, needing a 6. First shot hits against the toughness of 4. That takes him down. Apparently, last turn, Danik and Ugrok made a plan that Danik would draw out the enemy lieutenant, allowing Ugrok to have a clear shot at him. And their plan worked, And Ugrak takes down this lieutenant. And the tree. Moving to the enemy phase, the sniper back here wants to take a shot at Ugrak, but his view is kind of obscured by this tree, so instead he's going to fire at Beldara. Needing a 6 because she's in cover, and he's got a +1 combat. That does hit, and with marksman's rifles, they have the critical trait, which means that's 2 hits. So the first hit against her toughness of 5, that gets past that. She has a screen generator, gives her an armor save of 5+, and she doesn't get that. So Beldara, who hasn't really been able to get her combat going this turn, goes down. And then to the middle of the battlefield. Since Dr. Rose is kind of standing in the middle of this gunfight, I'm just going to have him kind of duck for cover. And Central is going to fire his hand laser at Ugrak. +2 combat, firing into cover, needing a 6. He only gets a 5, so he misses. And since Ugrak gets to act in both the quick and slow phases of this round, he's going to return fire with his auto rifle. Central is in cover, so Ugrak needs a 6. He's got his +1 combat. First shot. That one misses, and the second shot, that one hits against the toughness of 4. That just stuns Central. So the hacker, not used to being in combat, gets nervous and jumps back as gunfire starts coming his way. And last for my turn, we'll jump over to Rhett, who can move 5 inches right up here next to where Beldara was hit. And from right there, he is just within the 24-inch range to hit that sniper with his auto rifle. Shooting into cover with his +1, first shot. Gets a 6, that's a hit against a toughness of 4. He takes down the sniper. And after being gone for a few battles, Rhett finally returns to action and takes down a 3rd enemy this turn. And that takes me to morale rolls to see if Central takes off or if he stays here. 2 rolls and he leaves twice. So being a computer guy and not much of a soldier, Central realizes he's outnumbered and just hops on one of these speeder bikes and takes off to tell Talfo that Gibbs renegades have arrived. Going to the post-battle activities, first I'm going to do something I forgot to do at the start of the turn. Rhett had been gone the last 2 turns, doing some investigating on Talfo Yaris, and so now that he's returned, he gains 1d6 bonus experience points and a roll on the loot table, so we'll roll those up now. For his experience points, 4. For his loot on the category, 58. For the subtable, 91, and the specific item, 84. The 58 is gear. The 91 gives him a utility item, and then the 84 gives him another scanner bot. So I already have one of these that gives the crew +1 to all the seize the initiative rolls. It doesn't say that I can't double up on these, and I don't see why they couldn't have a couple probe droids essentially searching the battlefield ahead of time, so they will have 2 of those now. And now to the usual post-battle activities, starting with resolving rival status. On a 1, they become a rival, which they do not. And next I need to determine quest progress. This was a quest battle, and I currently have 3 quest rumors. Hoping to get a 7 total, I get an 8. So on a 7 or higher, I'm at the conclusion of my quest. Next time I pursue a quest mission, it will be the finale. This will always be a straight up fight, and I must add +1 to the number of opponents faced. And also, if the modified roll was a 4 or higher, I have to roll another d6, and on a 5 or 6, the next step is on another world. And alright, so the quest can be completed here on Daburu. Now moving to my rewards for completing this mission. Since this was a red zone job, I gain +1 experience points for each crew member that survives. When rolling for credits, I get to roll twice and pick the better of the rolls. When we finish a quest, we're not finishing the quest, so we'll ignore that for now. And also, if I win, I get to make an additional roll on the loot table. So for credits gained, rolling twice, keeping the best result, I will keep the 5. And I'll go ahead and roll up my battlefield find, 92. And that's always disappointing, nothing of value found. And with notable sights, even though I didn't get to Dr. O and use an action to save him to get my bonus story point, I did find a comment from the author stating that if you hold the battlefield, you can automatically obtain any notable sights. Next, I'll roll up the 2 loots I get for completing a red zone job. The first one is a 9, the subcategory 29, and the actual item 22. For the other one, 5, subcategory 3, and item 16. So a 9 and a 5 mean they're both weapons, and then a 5 and a 3 means they're both slug weapons. Then the 22 and 16 give me a machine pistol and a scrap pistol. And next I'll go to determining injuries. Both Charlie and Beldara fell in this battle, but I only need to roll for Charlie because on the last turn she rolled that she'd been eating well, and that made it so the next time she would be forced to roll on the injury table, the roll is ignored. So, rolling for Charlie, 85. And on the bot injury table, that's just a few dents, no long-term effect. For experience points, since Beldara became a casualty, she only gains 1 experience point, but Danik, Rhett, and Ugrok all gain 3 for surviving, plus 1 for completing a red zone job. And then Rhett also gains plus 1 for being the first character to inflict a casualty. Even though Beldara fell in combat, she has a total of 7 experience points, so she's going to go ahead and upgrade her combat skill to plus 2. And then Rhett, with 10 experience points, is also going to increase his combat skill to plus 2. And my team's going to go to the market to sell some stuff. They're going to sell the scrap pistol they just got. They're going to sell Baffy's handgun, and they're going to sell their last frack grenade. And then they're going to make a purchase on the gear table. And they've purchased 18. And 18 is booster pills. So it's not too great getting some consumables that I just paid 3 credits for. But when taken, a character removes all stun markers, and they can move at double speed for that round. Next, I'll roll up a campaign event. 79. You renegotiate some old debts. If you currently owe anything, you reduce that by 1d6 plus 1. If I owe nothing, which I don't owe anything, I gain 2 credits. And for my character event, we'll go Danik, Baffy, Dr. O, Rhett, Beldara, and Ugrok. And that goes to Ugrok. And 19. And that's fitting for a Kieran. You argue with the rest of the crew. During the next campaign turn, the crew member refuses to do any tasks, but will participate in the battle normally. So I guess he's just upset he wasn't able to take out Central, and just needed some time to go blow off some steam by himself. Thank you for watching, especially if you'd been waiting through the long break between videos. Be sure to like and subscribe, and battle number 13 will be posted here once it's available. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Play well.